Hi, and thanks for watching. In this video, we will look at fascial conditioning, fascial training in relation to Xingyi and its use of full body power or integrated power. So I want to talk very generally about the fascia. I'm no expert in the fascia, but there are three characteristics that I think are important to take note of. The first two is, the fascia, first of all, is these linings that cover all of the structures. And so between one muscle group and another muscle group, there's going to be a layer of fascia. Between the bones, there's a fascial layer, and then there's the nerves, which has a layer. The organs have a fascial layer, so on and so forth. So this is a membrane or membranes that cover all of the different structures in the body. And there's three characteristics to these fascia that I wanted to highlight. The first two, one is that it has an elastic kind of quality to it, a springy kind of quality to it. And the second is that, as I was saying, it covers each of the different structures and therefore allows the structures to move smoothly over each other. So this is something that you would see in, say, a rotational kind of motion. And so these two characteristics are things that we can see quite clearly in something, say, like Chen style Tai Chi, when we're doing something like the Fascial, the cover hand punch, which has this smooth, elastic quality and this rotation. It also is something that we would see also in something, say, like Bagua, in terms of this coiling kind of movement, this coiling kind of power. Now there's this third quality to the fascia, which I wanted to highlight, which is that it wraps around structures and it essentially binds them together. I remember hearing a talk by a physiotherapist talking about the fascial net that extends across the low back, comes around the waist, and actually anchors into the abdomen. And this fascial net actually provides quite a bit of support, structural support to the body, especially when it's in motion. And so instead of what we're used to thinking, which is we look at the structure and we look at the load as it transfers through the skeleton, through the vertebrae, or how the muscles are used to support the body, there's a whole additional layer that's involved in the structural support of the body, especially when it's in motion. And I think that it's this quality, this binding and wrapping quality, this holding together quality that gets used as a principle for Xingyi's integrated power or full body power. And so a bulk of the training that makes use of this, of course, is with the 5 fundamental strikes. And of the 5 fundamental strikes, one that is quite characteristic in its use of this is Beng Chuan, or the driving fist. Right? So this is the compact, direct, driving forward kind of structure. Short distance strike with short stance, but driving the body together as a single unit. Now, if we think about this and we only focus on the idea of the skeletal structure, the alignment of that, and the engagement of the muscles, we get a motion that's quite close to Xingyi, but I would say not quite. It has some of the timing qualities, but it's missing some of the characteristics of Xingyi. Keep in mind that when we're doing this Beng Chuan, that there are a couple of key training things to keep in mind. One of them is, of course, that as the fist strikes forward, the body sets back. And a second characteristic is that we have one hand driving back as the other hand drives forward, so that we have this support of force that travels through the shoulder girdle. Both of these things, the setting back of the body and this extension of the leading shoulder, creates lengthening and an engagement of the fascia, and therefore I think helps add this additional pathway for force to travel through. So in other words, we're looking at how we drive force through the body, and a lot of it happens through the alignment of the skeleton and the skeletal structure. A lot of it is accentuated and driven by the musculature. But on top of that, we have this additional layer which is the fascia, that allows the force to travel through this structure and coordinate the movements, right? And coordinate that direction and line of force. So if we look at this Beng Chuan and look at this technique and think about it first as if we're doing it only focusing on the muscles and the bone structure, right? And compare it to something where we make use of these two training tips, which effectively engages the fascia. Hopefully, I've done it in a way, maybe slightly exaggerated, but done it in a way that helps to illustrate some of the concepts that I'm now thinking about in relation to the training of this integrated or full body power. So, I should mention that those other characteristics, the springy quality, the rotational quality, I don't think that those are separate. I don't think that they're ignored by Xingyi. Of course, Xingyi makes use of these as well, especially in something like, say, the tiger or the other animals, the horse. But especially in terms of where the emphasis lies, especially with the foundational training, I think that it's this binding and wrapping quality of the fascia that is an important quality to pay attention to. So I hope this information is helpful for you. Keep training, keep practicing, and take care.